I think it's so important that we pro it rather than anti. Anti-aging means you're against aging. That's really what it means. And we're all aging. So how can you be against it? I want the Christines and the Audreys and the Allisons to say, you know what? When I get to be 50, it's not over. Things are going to be okay.
Hey friends, welcome to Keep It Simple Sexy. I'm Christine Bullock, founder of KO Body Care, certified fitness trainer, and mom of 3 little girls who's just trying to juggle it all and feel as good as possible, all while helping you do the same. I'm so grateful that you're here. Now let's get started, sexy. This episode is brought to you by KO Body Care, the leader in face-grade body care and supplements for total body wellness. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Keep It Simple Sexy. I am so excited to interview our next guest. She's the definition of beauty, grace, joy, and hope. At age 16, the stunningly beautiful Kym Douglas scored an internship at her local television station, WJBK in Southfield, Michigan. And from the very beginning, she was hooked. She built a career through Michigan and quickly after in Hollywood. And if you've seen her recently on her Hallmark Channel's Home and Family or the Ellen DeGeneres Show, you'll know she's not only a lifestyle expert and television host, but also a comedian, as she always makes beauty fun, which it should be. She's also a best-selling author, host of podcasts called Healthy Dose, and the recipient of the prestigious Spirit of Life Award presented by the City of Hope. She's a monthly columnist for the Pro-Age Woman magazine, helping women live more inspired and beautiful lives. And after battling and beating stage 3 breast cancer, Kym's devotion to her faith and her family has never been stronger. She's become a highly requested speaker, encouraging others on how to deal with difficulties in life and how to find the blessings in it. Kym always manages to add just the right dose of humor as she informs, inspires, and encourages others to live their best lives. So if you need a dose of hope or humor today, stay tuned. Welcome to the show, Kym.
Thank you. What a great intro. And when we were just saying hello to each other, a quick little hi before we came on, we realized that we had like 10 things in common. And we were like, this is going to go terrible. How is this ever going to work? It's going to be an awful podcast because in common and how fun it's going to be.
I know. And I was truly like so looking forward to meeting you because you're life. You bring life, you bring energy, and exactly what you're saying. And that is hope and joy and all of that. Mm-hmm. And I think we talk wellness all the time on this podcast, but where it really truly starts is in the heart and in the soul, because you could stress about everything in life, what you eat, what the fitness, Yeah. And that's going to age us or just make life not fun, first of all, and age us even faster than even if we have the perfect diet and everything else and you're stressing about it all the time. So, and beauty and the perfect lipstick, right?
Actually, I have a new color.
Ooh, what's your new color? Let's dish. I have one too.
Oh, they're almost the same. Literally, you got everyone listening and watching. I want to tell you, I said we have the same Yeti cup. Look, I said, it's like looking in a mirror. I don't know where she starts and I love
it. Well, we'll share our lip glosses in a second. Yeah. Mine's brand new too. I just put it on. So, well, let's take a look back first and tell us why and how you're here today. How did you get into lifestyle hosting?
It's interesting how I got into lifestyle. So as you so eloquently and beautifully said in the intro, I always knew I wanted to be in news very young. And at 16, I went to the news station and I literally knocked on the door and said, I don't know what I can do, but I want to be in news. I want to be Diane Sawyer. I want to be Barbara Walters. I want to do that. And they were like, okay, well, you're 16, so that's not going to work out. But after a little bit of coaxing, I became a tour guide showing senior citizens and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts around the local news station, sharing with them what we do in our community to broadcast the news. So it was really kind of nice. And what I ended up doing, Christine, which I truly believe, and I know if you read my bio, you know that faith is a really important part of who I am and all the hope that you and I talked about even before we came on here that I have in my heart. And that's that I really feel that God has a plan for all of us. So little did I know that this 16-year-old knocking on the door saying, I'll make coffee or clean toilets was like, he put me in a position where I went around the newsroom every day. So I saw every aspect of the news division. It was like I saw the control room and I saw the reporters, on the phone, and I saw the news director. What a great introduction and even education, if you will, on what you want to do. If you put yourself in a place where you get to see all aspects of it, So all it did was it just reinvigorated me to say, this is exactly what I want to do, where I want to be. And consequently, it put me in front of the news director every day. So I could say, hey, I want to be here. What do I need to do? Tell me what to do. How can I get there? And he did. He literally wrote, you need to go to this school. You need to take these classes. You need to get a tape. You need to do this. If you do all those things, Kym, I'll give you a freelance position. If you don't call me. I got 50 other girls waiting in line. So I did all those things. And then I came back after my 4th year of college, getting the grades, he said, the classes, he said, everything. And I said, here's my diploma. Here's my grades. Here's my tape. You said you'd give me a job. I'm ready. And he did.
Oh, that's so amazing. I mean, there's so many lessons I could take from that. One, it's like, no matter the age, 16 or not, that to just jump right in, to really go for it. Like you're saying, it's God's plan. And I think sometimes we think we have to have so many things lined up, but most of the time I feel like I've just jumped in blind to things and then learned the process of it.
Right.
And, but I think that they should have given you that job at 16. I think you would have blown it out of the water at 16 too.
That would have been fun.
Yeah.
Order, yeah. It all worked out, and then shortly after I didn't want to be a reporter anymore. I wanted to be an anchor. So I went to upstate Michigan, this is Michigan, the Mitten, and then there's the Upper Peninsula where I love the Upper Peninsula, so I'm not dissing them in any way, but it's like 2 people live up there.
Yeah.
And a polar bear. And I was the big anchor woman up there for all 2 people. And not really, but it was a very small market, But I got I could make all the mistakes. I could trip over words. I could, look at the wrong camera. Hi, Christine. How are you?
We've all been there.
Right?
Yeah.
But when 2 people are watching, it's okay. When 2 million, that's so good, So I ended up being an anchor, and my late husband was on a show called The Young and the Restless, and he came through to go up to Canada on a press junket, and I interviewed him, and 6 months later we were married. So
it all ends up, and see, you just take those, those opportunities. God leads you each step of the way. And if you tune in, and some people call it their intuition, or, I think it's that as well. That all of that kind of stuff. It's funny because I flew out to California just kind of on a whim. I didn't know anybody. I didn't want to be in Hollywood or anything like that, but I just wanted sunny weather. And I was working in, beauty at the time. And I walked. I was from Pittsburgh, and I moved to Santa Monica, and I walked into Q's on Wilshire in Brentwood, and it's like the sports bar. And I met my husband in 2 months or so. I didn't know anybody, met him. He's from Pittsburgh. So then we moved our whole family, but same thing. You just kind of go and,
Wow. And guess what? Yeah. Right down the street. I'm in Brentwood, and Q's is right. I could throw a stone.
Yeah. We used to live on Barrington and Goshen a little bit.
Oh yeah. What a small world. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, so you quickly progressed, and you quickly, kind of just followed that intuition into LA and Hollywood. What brought you to LA?
So he, my husband. Yeah. So the story goes, Christine, that I was covering murders, rapes, and fires, and he was jumping in and out of bed, being killed, having an evil twin, and having his ex-wife's sister try to kill him. So, between those, it was how was your day? Oh, well, let me tell you. And how was yours? Well, so we had pretty interesting, things to share with each other.
Yeah.
I was under contract to do the news, and he was under contract at Young and Restless. So when my contract came up 6 months later, after we had talked every day for 6 months and just seen each other very, short windows of time, he said, I think you should come out here and see, if maybe there's something out here for you. So I came out to Los Angeles, and coming from, remember the little place up here, people were like, you came from where? Is there really an Upper Peninsula? And it wasn't Pittsburgh, and it wasn't Detroit.
People think Pittsburgh is Philly all the time. So,
right. So, needless to say, it didn't really unfold very easily for me, and the doors all slammed shut. But being the kind of people that you are and I am, we just, my dear friend Kris Jenner says this, and it's a great quote. She said, if you go to somebody and they say no, then you're just talking to the wrong person. So you just
I love it.
Else. And I thought, gosh, what a great way to put it. There's not even a negative there. It's just like, oh, you said no? Great. Let me go to
next person. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I kind of did that. And all the news directors were like, no, you need to be from, New York or some big Chicago, a bigger market. And then a very small station opened up called E! Entertainment. And it was going to be 24 hours of entertainment news. And people were like, oh, sure. Like, that's really going to work. So no one wanted to do it, and no one was watching it. And I got a job there. And I ended up being there. And I got on a show called The Gossip Show. And it was really fun. And we were doing all this fun stuff. But it kind of started a little bit like it is now. You got more popular and you got higher pay the more dark you were. And the more gossip. The deeper the gossip and the richer. Yeah. And, Christine, listen, I'm not judging, and I'm not, and I'm the first one to be like, did you hear what happened on the far from, my hair, I better straighten it. I just didn't feel for me that it was the right thing. And it didn't feel right with my spirit, like talking about somebody's marriage breaking up. Is it really? But what I did love is I loved saying, Christine, I love your skin. It's so dewy. And what are you? So after the interview with J-Lo about the movie she was doing, which I didn't care anything about, the cameras would shut down, and I'd be like, so what are you wearing? Your skin looks amazing. What do you do? And then she'd tell me something that wasn't even all that, like, oh, I use coconut oil, or my grandmother used to tell me to slather on coconut oil, then lay a layer of Kleenex on, let it sit, take it, blah, 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 whatever. And I'd be like, oh my gosh. And then the minute I get off the interview, I'd be like, Kelly, guess what Jane said? She told me to do, and we'd all be on about that. And I said, that's what I want to do. I'd rather tell the fun stuff. And it ended up being, I moved into, beauty and wellness and sharing secrets that celebrities do that don't cost a lot of money and that we can all do ourselves.
And bringing so much fun to it as well, which it should be. I love that you bring so much humor to it. Were there any episodes, once you jumped into the lifestyle portion of it, that were your favorite?
Well, I'll be honest with you. My favorite times were being on the Ellen Show. So I went on to be on there one time. I had written a book. I don't think it's back here. Of course, I have everybody else's book.
I know.
But I wrote this book called The Black Book of Hollywood Beauty Secrets. And it was all these very under $10 beauty secrets of the stars. And one of the producers, Matt Wright of the Ellen Show, came to my book signing. And my husband pitched him really heavy and said, Kym has this quirky sense of humor, and I think it would work with Ellen. And I think it'd be great. And Matt was like, Jerry, again, this brings up Kris Jenner. Jerry, first off, Ellen is a gay woman. She's in her 40s. She doesn't care about makeup. She's not into beauty. And Kym is never going to be on the show. So there you go.
Oh my God.
And Jerry was like, but I think it would work. I really do. And Matt was like, no. So 2 weeks later, to the day, Ellen was announced the host of the the Emmys that year, or the Oscars, sorry. And so Matt called up Jerry and said, oh, Allison came through. So this was my very first book. I think it's still out. I get no money from it, by the way, you guys, but yeah, it's on Amazon. And,
Still, so many good tips though.
Yeah, I'm not pitching. Believe me, I'm not pitching. But anyway, it's a good book.
Yeah.
And it was done by Jan Miller, my favorite literary agent. Anyway, so Matt called and says, Jerry, can you get Kym on the phone? I just want to say I'm sorry. Ellen's going to be the Oscar host, and we thought it might be funny if Kym got her ready in like a gown and the makeup and the hair so I went on one time, and I was on every other week for 19 years, and I never stopped with Ellen. So
it's so cool. It kind of makes me want to cry because you have so many just like moments of, had that not happened and had you, like it just turned it around too for even the door to open on that. But it was like perfect timing. It was God's perfect timing because like 2 weeks earlier he met you.
He said,
it's so cool.
Like, no, it's not going to happen. So, I guess my takeaway for your audience, Christine, is that even when it's no, even when somebody says no, if you have in your heart, this is the message that I really need to give to the world. Yeah. This is what's in my heart. This is what I want to share. No doesn't mean no, not in this case. And you just go to another person or you find another avenue. But if it's really in your heart and it's your passion, God will find a way to open that door for you.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Even when a couple shut, it's okay. It's okay. I've always found too that like the things that look like they're going to be the most amazing opportunities, and when you don't get them, the ones that don't look like they're going to be an opportunity turn into the biggest ones as well.
Right. And you know what? We have a saying about that, and it says, your rejection can be God's protection. And so many times, even let's think about past relationships. Like I married my husband very young, but, I think about guys that I thought were the love of my life at 18, and he was going to be it. And I was going to be, and
thank God we all wish those.
And he said he didn't want to, be married. He didn't want to be with a reporter. And thank goodness, like now he's got the beer belly and no hair. And no offense, I'm sure
I know.
Not my favorite.
Yeah. I love that. I know. It's just, he's always, you just, again, goes back to your like intuition of, and sometimes the door shuts on you. He shuts the door on purpose on you, even when you want it,
And like you said, not even just in love, but in certain, work things too. Like, I could have gone to E, and it really could have been a network that everyone was like, who cares about this, and shut down 5 minutes later. And, I'm on the street and deciding to be a whole different way, but it didn't. And so sometimes those jobs, like you say, that you think are going to be the one that's just going to catapult you, you never know. And I feel like God sees down the road and we don't. So that's where that trust comes in. And we have to follow that. And as you say, our heart, our instincts, our intuition, we really do. We have to keep close with that.
I love. So moving forward a little bit, you're a writer for the Pro-Age Woman magazine.
Right.
And in your cover article, which you look beautiful on, you say you're super grateful to be aging. And you say you're all about pro-aging, not anti-aging. What is pro-aging to you, and what do you love about it? And any secrets to aging gracefully, pro-aging?
Christine, I think you're the perfect example of this. So I have a 25-year-old son, and he has a girlfriend that's 23. And I know, you look like you're 25, but I know you're 40. And, for the younger women like you and like my son's girlfriend, Audrey, and all the young women that may even know or follow me, I think it's so important that we pro it rather than anti. Anti-aging means you're against aging. That's really what it means. And we're all aging. So how can you be against it? It doesn't even compute. So if you pro it, that, we're all going to age and we want to do it the best we can. And I don't want to look 30. I'm not. I'm 63. I'm very proud to be 63. I'm very proud to tell you my age. And I think that's so important because I want the Christines and the Audreys and the Allisons to say, you know what? When I get to be 50, it's not over. Things are going to be okay. Look, she's doing this. She's writing books. She's doing magazines. I could have a whole, or when I turn 60, it's still going to be okay. And I encourage women to not think like, you and I, we are in Hollywood. And I've been told, at least when I got here, at 35, you're done. Like no one wants to see it. Don't put yourself up there because no one's interested in looking. And that's really not the case. And I say these same women all the time, but from a Jane Fonda who's 85 to a Helen Mirren who's in her 70s to a Jennifer Lopez who's 50, Halle Berry who's 50, I could go on and on. Kim Kardashian is in her 40s. Women look so great, and we have so many options now. And the more we pro it, the less it becomes a hindrance to us. So I want to do that for you. I want to do that for your 3 little girls. I want to let them know, no matter what age they are, your 3 little girls are going to be great and they're going to soar. And they don't have to worry about hitting an age and having you as their mentor, seeing their mom at 40 be in shape and jumping around and wearing great clothes and doing great things. What a fabulous message you're giving them.
Thank you. Most of the time, except when I'm in my pajamas all day. But no, I absolutely love it too, because if you're, we know we speak into existence what we want and what we don't want too. And so every time you're saying you're really putting out this negative energy towards it, even if you're trying not to believe in that. And so I'm absolutely going to cut that word out of my vocabulary. Viewers, you can totally get me on that if you hear me saying it still, but I love that pro-aging. And I think too, I actually just posted on Instagram something, and it was like, you should be healthier, have more wisdom, be stronger, have more confidence as you age. I really look at aging. I look forward to it. I look forward to it at this point because I get to feel better every year. I've literally, since my 25, I feel healthier every single year because I've learned more of how to take care of myself mentally, physically, financially, and all of those, places.
Absolutely.
And it just gets better. But it used to be in media, it was always like the 20-year-old, it was like, oh, if you're not 20, you're out, you're gone.
Yeah. And we don't talk about, Christine, like, so my son graduated college and he's in finance and he's working.
Congrats.
Thank you. And, when you get out of those years of, babyhood and, I was the soccer mom and the football mom and all of that, it was so wonderful. And I loved every second of it. And I treasured it. And I encourage all the women your age to really just value and lap up every second of that. But I'll be honest with you, being at this age, so my house, you can't really see it, but my house is all white with little pink curtains. Because that's what I like. I don't have the brown, puffy, cool sofa because I have the football team over every day.
Yes.
My fridge is filled with green juices and salads and blueberries.
Living the life.
The boys coming over that want turkey sandwiches with potato chips and blah, blah. And I'm not saying anything negative about that. I'm just saying that, like, look at what I can do now. And I can be on with you all morning and I can go get my coffee and I can have my girlfriends over and I can, and I just want to encourage women that every chapter has its wonderful blessings and benefits. And if we look at it that way, how great for you to know in 20 years, look what you have to look forward to,
Yeah.
And rather than like, Christine, oh my gosh, from now on, it's just downhill. We're just really gonna, what? Like, why? And we have so many negative Nellies. I have to share this with you. So on my Instagram, and I follow you all the time, I'm at Kym Douglas, and I did this post. I don't know if you can see it, but it says, always be positive, right? And then it says, there's a little asterisk and it says, falls down the stairs. And then it says me, and it says, well, I got down these stairs fast. I fell down the stairs, but I want to be positive. Well, you know what? I got down the stairs super fast. So I want to tell you something. I got about 20 negative comments.
What?
People saying, you know what? We've fallen down the stairs before, and we hope you're happy, because when you fall down the stairs, it's not. So we are the anti-stair people, and you should not be talking about stairs. I mean,
those people are stuck in a moment.
Oh my gosh.
They're stuck in the moment. Yeah.
It's a metaphor. It's like,
yeah.
But it just goes to show you that no matter what you post, believe if it's
glass half empty.
There are anti-stair people that will come after you. So watch it.
I know. Social media is just a thing. It's like you have to think about what you're posting, or you just don't care because you're like, whatever. We're gonna get it both ways if you put yourself out there. But there's more positive people I find all the time on there. I love that though. That has lots of humor. I will say too, one of the things, like, I grew up in a family, we didn't have much money, and it was always like, if the car got scratched a little bit, it was like the end of the world, or you know what I mean? Something because of finances. Yeah. And I married my husband, and although he grew up in the same kind of family, just had this outlook where it was just like, it's okay, it's just a car, it's this, it's just that. But he really helped me to be like, even when we maybe didn't have the money or anything like that for it too, but it's okay. It's just like, what's the big deal here? Wow. But to think that way, like, you just pick yourself back up. You put a little ice pack on and just don't think about it just don't think about it. Move on, So, yeah.
That's really great. And that's wonderful that it came from that type of a family. I did too. My mom and dad came out here from Scotland, and they had $200, and my dad was a carpenter and my mom a homemaker. So I love those stories, when they certainly wasn't, raised in a very wealthy household, but we had a lot of love, and
you learned to hustle.
Yeah. And I learned to hustle. Exactly.
Because they were hustling. They're hardworking.
Yeah, exactly. And grateful for that, truly.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about pro-aging, and I was saying, I feel better each year. I feel healthier. I preface this, when my children let me sleep, which they haven't recently, but I still feel pretty good. But I feel healthier. I feel smarter. I feel more beautiful in my 40s, as I had said. You are the most gorgeous inside and out 61-year-old I have ever met. And you say you feel better than you ever have. Yeah. Are there learning moments that you can share from each of your decades? Things that you really took from your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, or your 30s, your 40s, your 50s? Because I feel like we have all age groups tuning in, and it's something for them to look forward to.
Sure. So, I feel, Christine, that my 20s were my decade of searching, and it was extremely career. What am I going to do? Am I ever going to get that job that I really want? Am I ever going to be that anchor woman? Am I ever going to? And so it was just so, I was so driven, kind of just driven. Am I ever going to get married? Am I going to meet the guy? Am I going to, and there was so much of that. And then when I did do that in my 20s, find the career and find the right person. Then I went to my 30s, and my 30s, unlike you, which is so great, I spent most of my 30s in an infertility battle. So that was another struggle. And I felt like there was a lot of struggling. Now I want that family, and how do I get that? And is it going to happen? And why isn't it happening for me? And, so I went through many years of that. And at 37, I got pregnant with my son, Hunter.
That was me at 38. I started when I was 30. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought you just had 3 like that.
No, we adopted Remy when I was 35, finally, after 5 years of fertility that didn't work. Then I got knocked up finally, naturally at 38, and then 40 again. That was a surprise. So
wow.
Yeah. So I feel you. That was my 30s too.
So again, it's a lot of struggle. You're like, we want the family, we want to have that. And then the 40s was a little bit calmer. We had gotten to a place where we were in the right nest, and we had our baby, and we had gotten to the right school that was the right fit for him. And I was working, and Jerry was working. So there was a little more of a balance there that I loved. But there is a lot of anxiety still with, the kid. Is he in the right school? Did he make the team? Is there, and you're all in with the moms and everything in the right, am I bringing the right cupcakes today? Or, oh my gosh, there's a nut allergy and I didn't know, all of it. Whatever. 50s got easier. I kind of, yeah, I stepped into
Something to look forward to.
right. And you get your confidence and you get the wisdom that like you have been there and you have struggled and you have earned it. And I think the 50s were really, really great. And that's a great way of feeling like you've gotten, whatever it is. Not everybody has the same path that you and I do, but whatever your path is, probably you've gotten at least a good foundation down. And I think that's why I would look forward to my 50s the most if I was someone listening or watching your podcast. And then I'm telling you, the 60s, Christine, fabulous. I mean it. I'm like, I watch my documentaries. I watch my Real Housewives. My girlfriends want to set me up on dates. I'm going out with the girls. I'm wearing my leather pants and my cool shoes. I'm just like, it's so much fun. It's just great.
Yeah, you get to sleep in when you want to. It's like, yeah, you can see sleep is a common issue here. Well,
Yeah.
thank you. I love all that. And I think that our viewers can,
Really?
recognize those points too, because I feel like those were very similar to what I've gone through, what I hear some young friends that are 20s, late 20s, early 30s going through as well.
Yeah.
Even with people kind of pushing back marriage and pregnancies for careers, but it was still very similar, even though we were trying a little earlier, The Keep It Simple Sexy podcast is brought to you by KO Body Care. By now, you guys know I'm all about simple wellness habits. And the most important habit, in my opinion, is eating lots of fruits and veggies to boost your immunity and feel energized and youthful. The only problem, if you're as busy as I am, you're probably eating a lot of meals on the run. So I'm going to fill you in on my favorite hack. KO Body Care's clean, plant-based supplements. As the founder and CEO of KO Body Care, we spent so long getting these formulas perfect, and our customers are just as obsessed with them as I am. Our bestseller right now is our Vital Green Superfood Powder Drink Mix. Every scoop contains 25 superfoods that optimize your cellular health and performance. There's organic greens, antioxidant-rich berries, curcumin, and immune complex, and so much more. Unlike most green powders, this one doesn't taste like grass, guys. It's got a sweet berry flavor that even my kids love. Seriously, my oldest asks for it every day. Vital Green Superfood Powder is a staple in my pantry and in the KO collection, and when you try it, you'll know why. Order yours today at kobodycare.com and make sure to use your special code KISS20 for 20% off your first purchase. More recently, you went through a major experience, and I will say your quirky sense of humor sets you apart as the go-to expert of all the latest beauty trends. But recently, you've admitted that your perception of beauty has undergone a metamorphosis. What was the catalyst?
So the catalyst was not going in for my mammogram because I was too busy, and I missed it for 3 years because I was doing the shows that you mentioned, Ellen and Home and Family and E and writing books. And, I was like what we just talked about. I was living my 50s and I was just enjoying it. And I put myself kind of on the back burner then. And then I went for my mammogram and I found out I had stage 3B breast cancer. And then, it all stopped. Then my life kind of ended in that part. And then I just went on to fight the battle of breast cancer and still be here for my son and my husband. And it just shifted everything, literally shifted it right upside down.
Yeah, you talk about finding the blessings in difficult times. I think there's two questions here. One, I just want to hear, physically, what did you have to go through to beat that? Because I think that I know so many women now going through cancers of all kinds at younger ages. And two, how did you turn those difficult times into blessings? You beat it mentally, you beat it physically.
Yeah. I'm wondering which one was worse. I think the mental one was worse. So being a beauty person like yourself and wellness, the irony was that, and I've said this so many times, I lost all my hair. I lost my eyebrows. I had no eyelashes. I was green. I lost 17 pounds in about a month and a half. So here I am, talking about beauty, and I had none. And then mentally, what I didn't mention is my husband's 25 years older than I am, and I have an only child. So the mental part was like, okay, wait. And now I have stage 3B. That means I'm probably going to die. So what's going to happen to my son? And my husband's 25 years older than me. So that mentally was really difficult. And it just really tore me down. It took everything away from me. And I didn't expect it. I had done all the things that were right. Kind of goes back, Christine, to that news director saying, Kym, do this and go here and get those. And I did them. I did them all. Like, I was the girl that followed the rules. I drank my green juices. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I was in a relationship. They say, being married helps with, or being in a relationship helps with your physical. I did everything right. And I got stage 3B. What? So it was so hard and it was so bad. And I knew that I had two paths, which everybody does. Either I give into it and I give up, or I go forward. And as you can probably tell from my history, it wasn't going to be the other one. So I went down to this place called
I'm sure there were moments, though, Oh
my but I mean, if you saw me, Christine, like, I spent days on end in my bed with the shades drawn and the covers over my head in a black room, in a black mentality, in a black space in my head, just saying, it's over. And why me? Why did this happen? What did I do? And so, you stay there for so long, and then you're like, well, this isn't going to help anything.
Yeah.
And then I started thinking about what I had rather than what I was going to lose. And I flipped the script and I went down to this place that I call my stump. It's a cut off oak tree. And it's just a stump in the ground that's really ugly and dirty and has no beauty. And I stood down there and I just cried before God. And I said, you have to tell me if I'm going to make it through, because I just have to know. I have to know if I'm going to make it through or not. And I stood there for a long period of time and nothing happened. And then I looked down and I saw that my feet were standing in the center of this very strong rooted oak tree stump. And they had cut down all the beauty, all the pretty branches and all the green leaves and all the beauty that makes a tree so pretty. And it was just this stump. But it was so strong and it was so deeply rooted in the ground. And there was cement that had tried to come on there because they were building around it. There were rocks that had tried. There were so many things that had tried to hit it. But the stump stood, Christine, and it stood strong, and it had the right foundation, and it had the right roots, and it was going to keep standing through all the storms, through all the rain, through all the floods. It stood, and my feet were planted directly in the center of it. And I took that as, God saying, look, I got you. That's your foundation, and I'm holding you up. So get with the program. Let's do this. So from that moment on, the shades went up, the lights went on, and I just fought through, put the wig on, taped on the eyelashes, drew on the breath, and I was in it to win it. And I was like, here I am. And the end of the story is honestly, Christine, and I would share this with you. I lost all my hair. I wore the cold cap, but I have no extensions in my hair whatsoever. This is all my own hair. You can look at I have no.
So thick and gorgeous.
This is all mine. My eyebrows are back. My skin has never.
Yeah, you look like glowing, beautiful.
Thank you for saying. But
yeah.
When it's all ripped away, I think you appreciate it all the more. And so that's how I got through it.
I mean, two things. God replaces it double fold. If you can take that, the things that he gives you and utilize it and turn it. It says, like, if you plant the one seeds, then he'll give you more, and so you absolutely did that. But I would say too, my favorite scripture, we have a tree. I built this house and I built it around a tree, and I actually put the tree in the house. But there's a center, because my favorite scripture is like, you shall be like a tree planted by the water, who, like, in drought, I'm going to preface it because I still don't know it. But in drought will bloom, and and so it was very much like that, where, the foundation is there. And I love that, just sitting there peacefully. And I think that's part of it too, is just taking those moments internally when you're in your roughest times.
Yeah.
And listening in, and you may not hear it the first moment, and someone may not actually speak it into your ear, but you're going to get those visions of what you need to know for that moment, to guide you.
Yeah. And, the message comes, Christine, sometimes it's visual, where I literally hung my head in despair that it's over. And I looked down and there was the answer. But sometimes I think that it comes in the form of a friend, of a person, of somebody standing behind you in line at Starbucks, but you really do have to be in tune, like you say, with that stillness and going inward to say, I need to know. I need to know what direction to go in. I need to know if this person is right for me. I need to know if this job is going to be the place where I can really shine. Mm-hmm. So we have to really look for those signs.
And when we go through these big change ups in our life, that I think, even the fertility, like, that was a big change up for me. And it really guided me in a different direction in my life. And got me more into wellness instead of just fitness,
right.
The external versus like the full picture. So you were saying that it really changed, like, your outlook on your career. How has that changed, and where are you at right now? What do you want to be doing, and what are you doing?
That's a really good question. I am, funny enough, the answer to the last part of the question is I'm going back out to my stump truly every day. And I'm really listening, because I'm not truly sure where exactly my next path is in these 60s. Probably, I'm thinking it's probably another book. I'm also thinking that it might be the speaking circuit. I love sharing, especially with women, but men too. My message of what I went through and how hopefully it can help others. Spreading hope. I have this hope candle that I created because, like you, it's like, I make sure now. We talked about how infertility or cancer changed us. Do you know that even like our candles, this is made with beeswax, and it's no fragrance, and it's a cotton wick, and it's a soy candle. So literally, like, even when you're lighting your candles, you have to be sure that you're not putting toxins into your home, and you're not sitting breathing that in all day. So you want to be sure not just what you're putting on your body, which changed so much after I had cancer. Do I have parabens? Do I have phthalates? Do I have toxins? Do I have fragrance? I don't want to be putting that on my body, because it's going to affect me. And
it all adds up. It all adds up,
Yeah. What am I putting in my environment? Do I have some plants around to help to cleanse the air? So all of that. So to answer the first part of your question, the beauty part, I realize that, it sounds so cliche. Oh, beauty comes from within. But, you do have to make sure your environment, your body and your home and your family are toxin free. And I mean that metaphorically as well.
I love that. I mean, I think that could be a priority. That should be like number one. I've just never heard it put that way. And all of those factors, your family too, your house, your environment, your internal environment, because we say beauty from within, but really to think it's not toxic. Like think about, it makes you think much more like, my mom always said, people ask her, how do you look so beautiful at all ages, 30s, 40s, whatever. And she'd always say forgiveness. Just I forgive. And so I think it makes me think of that, where it's like, what is toxic? What is toxic that we are holding on to in the sense of relationships, or maybe old relationships you're still thinking about, or you're feeling guilty about something that you interacted with somebody with 20 years before. Any of that can be toxic. And we can also pass it then along into our families as well, generationally. And I love that, because I think I'm going through like a search right now too of like, what's the next step for me? And I feel like it's even a deeper step than where I've taken from fitness to, okay, supplements, nutritionally, this, like, where else do I need to go now? And that's definitely a step daily to see what I can cleanse.
That's beautiful. And, it's kind of, again, I see this whole podcast with you, how it all kind of ties together in this beautiful package, because it's like we were saying, the different stages of a woman's life. You did do the fitness and the workout, which was so great. And then the supplements got you a little deeper, and then wellness. And I do feel for you that the next step for you is even one level deeper. And that is the beauty of aging, because you start to just go a little bit deeper and you find the richer levels. And I think your next level is going to be your best yet.
I do too. Thank you. As we were saying this, if it's anything like you're saying, absolutely. I can continue to look upwards. Well, you mentioned your candle, and I love too that you were honored by the Spirit of Life Award from the City of Hope, and you have the partnership with the Family Tree Candle. Where can we find that candle?
Yeah, you can find it at Family Tree Candles, and then also just on my website. But it's the Hope Candle. And what I love is, when you light it, I just feel like you're putting hope into this world. And of course, a portion of the proceeds goes to research for women's cancers, all cancers, not just breast cancer. But that's another way of giving back, Christine. And I feel like it's so important to just, whatever I put my hand in, it has to have some kind of a health or a giving women more information. I do a podcast, not as good as yours, and not like.
I love it. I saw it. It's so great. It has such great medical content on it.
And it's called Your Healthy Dose, and it's in association with the St. John's Foundation. And what it does is, it's like, there's actually this thing, and it's called the white coat syndrome. And I don't know if you ever got this, but I even did this when I was with fertility issues. When a man or a woman comes in a white coat as a doctor, I have literally, again, the list. I have a list of all these things that I want to ask. And the white coat comes in, and all of a sudden, Christine, it's like, oh, I'm good. Yeah. Okay. I have that one earache, but everything's fine, doctor. And then I'm out the door, and then I get in the car and I'm like, oh, but I didn't tell him there's this and this, and I want to. So there's literally this syndrome where you forget what to say. And I feel like what this podcast does is we talk to doctors from colon health to influenza to COVID-19 to breast health to anything, heart health, which is the number one killer of women. The doctors, I ask them all the questions you would want to ask, and it's free. And it's like, you get information. And I think our health information is so important. We need to get that.
And that's so amazing. I mean, it is such a natural step into beauty and lifestyle too, from what you've been through, is really getting those questions and making it, not humorous, I would say, but easily absorbable, and in a lighter method that sometimes physicians can do. You do a great job at that.
And you guys don't say anything. I'm serious. I hope no one can hear this, but sometimes doctors, they're like scientists, and they come in, and I'm like, hi, how are you guys?
No, me too. On here too. I'm like, and alrighty then. That was a short podcast.
But they're all so, and you know what? Listen, when it's all said and done, I'd really rather have my heart surgeon not come in with a tap dance shoes and a top hat, seriously. But I do think that it is important that we keep it, a little bit light,
Yeah.
and I can be that lightness sometimes.
Yes. You are the light all the time.
Aw.
Well, and speaking of hope, what are some tips that you can give to people to stay hopeful?
Oh, wow, Christine. I think it's really about putting as much lightness and happiness in this world as you can. And that sounds so esoteric. Here's what I do. I really practice this, and this is something I put into practice. And I want to challenge your viewers and listeners today to do this 3 times. If there's anybody that you see, the minute you walk out of your door or you get on your Zoom or whatever, find something true and real and authentic, positive that you can say. So the first thing I would say to you is, oh my gosh, I love your hair and I love that blue suit. You're so pretty. I have one question. How are you so pretty? And I mean, if you just say like fun things like that to people, you would be so surprised. I'll be walking my dog Bella, who barely walks. I stroll her around Brentwood in a stroller, don't judge. And people will be like, they're walking and they're in their mood. And I will see something genuinely that I like. I'm not making it up. I'm not faking it. And I'll be like, oh my God, that's such a great color on you. And people will be like, thank you. Oh, wow, thanks. Okay. And they walk away. And you know what? Maybe that's the one thing today that's been positive in their life. Maybe the guy behind you in Starbucks just lost their mother. And you saying, how are you? Oh, I like your haircut. I don't know what it is, and you will make it your own. But whatever positive thing you can put out, I just think it's so important that we do that right now more than ever. And I really do practice that. You can ask anybody around me. I do.
I love that. I'm that girl too, but I have to do it more. I have to say, I've been tired and grumpy some days and not leaving the house too. But
yeah, that's the other thing.
Even from when I was a child, when I was a little girl, and I would remember adults scowling at me, I'd be like, I'm a kid and I'm smiling at you. And I feel like, but I remember taking that and being like, I'm going to continue to smile at you because you seem like you need it. Or when I worked at one of the first Sephora's in Pittsburgh, and I was just a young college kid. I didn't know anything. It was my first time. Well, not my first time out working. I've worked since I was 15, but in that kind of atmosphere, and the women would come in and they would just like kind of ignore you. Like I was the front welcome girl for a while, and they wouldn't even respond to you. And I remember being so hurt by it at first. And I was like, I'm going to turn this into a positive. And then I would continue to go up to them. I wouldn't put my arm around them, but let's say my personality, and just be like, how can I, and it would turn it around. And they would become these kind of like, I don't want to say bitter, but they were like not in a great mood kind of women. You'd see them all the time, and they'd be like my best friend after a while, always coming in. And when you do that, when you just, smile at the person walking by, like you said, if you're on your walk or, hey, how you doing? Even if they don't respond, you feel good.
Right.
Yeah. You bring more positive back.
Yeah. And it goes back to what your mom said when people ask her, how are you so pretty at your age? And she says, forgiveness. I think the same thing is true with the beauty that we're expressing. If I walk by 5 people in Brentwood and they don't say hi, it doesn't matter. I did.
Mm-hmm.
I said hi to them, and I feel good about me.
Yeah. You're bringing more positive vibes surrounding you.
It's true. And it's whatever you focus on, you bring more of into your life. And, the more I put out there that's good, the more that's going to come back to me. So.
Absolutely. It's for you. You can be a little selfish by being unselfish. It's okay. Well, speaking of hope too, most people would dream of a loving marriage that lasts a lifetime. Your marriage was 37 years, and I'm sorry to hear that he passed away last year. But I would love to know your tips on a loving, spicy, sane marriage. And by the way, I think this should be your next book, or at least a portion of it.
Oh, how to have a spicy marriage?
Yeah, or just a marriage that lasts a lifetime. I mean.
Well, you know what? That's really interesting you'd say that, because truly, he was an actor for 60 years, and I was a host or reporter, and that isn't the easiest 2 careers to keep a marriage solid. You know what I mean? Like you have a lot of temptation. You're around a lot of beautiful people. You're both in a business so 37 years. And you know what? Listen, every marriage is, has its ups and downs. So I'm not going to make it like, we were perfect. But I'm going to tell you something, Christine. I lived a fairy tale. I really did. I lived a fairy tale marriage, um, and he was so good to me. And he was pretty much my Prince Charming. And he would, bring me home flowers like once every couple of weeks and for no reason. And he like loved our son so much, and just, anything he would do, like other dads would be at all the games, but Jerry would be at all the practices. And Hunter would be like, "Oh, Dad, seriously." So he just poured into Hunter and I all the love that he had, and um, and he was my Prince Charming, and he treated me like a princess, and he was very strong. Thank you. And he was very strong, and I respected him so much, and I admired him, because the thing is that I want to encourage women, especially, to be with somebody that they can admire. And when the doors are shut and no one's around, if your partner is somebody that says the right thing and does the right thing when nobody's looking, then that's when you've got the right person with you. And we would have arguments, and he would always be, I hate to say this because it makes me sound awful, but he would always be the first one to say, "Okay, let's talk it through. I'm sorry."
That's my husband. He always says, "I'm sorry." I'm like, "I'm not stubborn, but thank you.
No.
You are sorry." It's totally my fault. I'm working on it.
And he just maybe it was the age difference too, but he just loved to see me soar. He loved to see me successful, and he loved to see me "Oh, you just did Ellen. What is he watching? A 40-year-old lesbian daytime talk show host for? Let's watch Ellen. Here, let's watch. What did you do? And he was so excited, and he was so supportive, and he was so, into it. And I would literally, Christine, I would come home and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I got this hangnail. Let's discuss it. How is that?" Exactly. But I never felt like what I was talking about to him was insignificant or unimportant. Like him, whatever, So I was very fortunate. And how I flipped the script on that, Christine, is many people say to me, like, "How do you go on? You've had 40 years," because we were engaged for a while. And the minute I met him, I stopped dating anybody. So it was 40 years that I was with Jerry. And, they say, "How do you go on, 40 years after being with somebody?" And I look at it this way. At first, I was just like, "Oh, I'm never going to find love again, and this is so awful." But here's the way I look at it. I had 40 years of an amazing love. And how fortunate am I to have been able to experience 40 years of one person loving me deeply and fully, and how grateful I should be, rather than like, "Woe is me. Oh, I lost him," and
You're amazing. Just turning this. You're amazing. Truly, every part of, your life. Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but truly,
No,
like, you just
you're so
see
right.
the pattern of you flipping the switch all the time.
Well, but it is true. Like, how can you be the least bit, sad or feel woe is me about it when I had 40 years? Like, I'm so fortunate. So
With your best bud too, you're saying, it's just, living. And I do hope that there are so many young women, or, pro-aging women, mature women, that are looking for love. And exactly what you're saying is finding somebody that you admire, that you respect,
yeah,
and that is because of the way that they treat. And you really do admire, such a great word, and that they're treating other people that way. Maybe they're better at some of these things, and are just very present. He was very present with you.
Very present. You're right. And I think admire and respect is so important because you do want somebody that lives a life that is admirable and that is a good for your children to be around. And and we do need to look for that. I don't think that right now in society that's the most important thing or something that is stressed very much. So that is important because that truly, Christine, that's what lasts a lifetime. And I'm not saying we didn't he was hot. When I met him, he was a soap hunk and he stayed hot all of 40 years for me.
Yeah.
And he watched his weight. He was the same weight. He was a quarterback in college. And he was the same weight he was when he was a quarterback when he passed away. And, and he always took pride in the way he dressed and wanted me to be proud of him and Hunter. But anyway, it was
And I
great.
think for the people that are looking for this too, even though, I think it is hard, but I think when you're living your life the way that you're supposed to be, and exactly everything that we've been talking about in the past, when you're living in the moment, you're present, you're grounded and you're, where your tree stump is, where your foundation is, and you really know what you're supposed to be doing, that those people will line up. The opportunities will line up like you had. The people will line up. I mean, you were in Michigan and deep north and you met him. And I moved out to LA, didn't know anybody, walked into a bar and he walked directly up to me. It's like, you never know. And so when you don't have to worry about that person coming into your life, even as the quality might decrease a little bit, depending. I don't know. I'm not out there, but or the opportunities, everybody has a hosting job right now or whatever it is. You have a business, but everybody has a beauty business right now. It's like the opportunities, the doors will open, that need to be open.
I think that's really important what you said and a great takeaway for the audience. And that is that if you're really true to what you believe, whatever that is, and you stay strong with that, and you look for certain things that you're doing in your own life first, I think it really is true. Your word was align. And it's like the job aligns, the friendship aligns, and the love life aligns. And I have attracted into my life a lot of women that are just strong, powerful, such
your
as
friendships align.
Yes.
Even that too.
Right. And I think that's so important. You attract the same people and you have to trust that alignment will happen.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because in Los Angeles, which, we kind of see depicted on TV and hear about it on social media and everything too.
Right.
But there are so many amazing people here. I always tell people, I'm like, you don't know the quality and the strength and the genius of especially the women, because they're my friends out here,
Mm-hmm.
but how many people where it was a little bit of a struggle for me in Pittsburgh, and probably because I hadn't found my truth there too.
Right.
But, I was able to find it here and meet so many amazing women out here because I was living my truth too. And so you do attract it.
Yeah.
Well, to wrap it up, do you have any additional tips for our guests, our Kym guests, for inner bliss or just being the best that they can be? Even a beauty tip too is fine. Whatever you want.
Oh, you're so sweet. I think the thing that we've talked about today that kind of brings it into a full circle for us is finding your foundation. And the foundation that you put on your skin is really important because it's like this is our canvas. And I prep my foundation, giving you beauty tips. I prep it with a great serum first, and then a great moisturizer. And then I let that sit in a little bit. And then I put a primer on. And I put the primer underneath my eyes and on my smoker's lines, even though I don't smoke, but I do like to go like that a lot. And all around me. And that's a metaphor, Christine, for our lives. I think we need to have a strong foundation where we put our faith and our family and our values and what's important to us on those layers. And then we cover it all with positivity and putting out in the world our primer, which is the goodness and the hope that we're going to put out there. And once you have your foundation, your prep done, the foundation goes on so smooth. It really does. It doesn't go in the wrinkles, and it doesn't set in the fine lines and creases. It just sits beautifully on the face, but it's because we did the prep work before.
Yeah, especially that, clearing the toxicity. I really love that too. Kind of like leads back to that.
Yeah,
And, starting there, because I feel like some people are constantly, and I felt these moments, even recently with 3 kids, like these moments of, just climbing for this or this, halfway drowning for, but really it was like, oh, I had my footing the whole time.
you did.
Right. But
You did.
so you need to start here, and then that will just, the good things will come to you. And we go through those ups and downs in life, but it just,
For sure.
find out where you are, where you need to be
Yeah.
first.
Know that you're on that solid ground. Just know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it seems shaky and the rains come and the winds, and we all get blown. But if you just know you've got that solid rooting beneath you, you'll get through it.
I love that, Kym. Well, I'm going to leave it right there, and best podcast. I mean, it was such a pleasure to have you on here, and thank you for sharing your hope, your wisdom, and how to make the best out of difficult times as well. I can't wait to see what you have going on next.
Well, right back at you. Right back at you, darling.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was really a pleasure. Blessings.
And everyone, please follow. You're going to have to follow her for all the humor and just the most amazing tips for life at Kym Douglas, KymDouglas.com, or same thing for Instagram. Thanks for listening. Make sure you're subscribed, and feel free to share this with a friend or family who needs to hear it. Have questions you need answered? Text me at 1-310-361-8697. Make sure you follow me on social at Christine Bullock, and have a healthy, happy week. See you next time.